Precariously in the wilds of the towering Himalayas, brave men dangle from sheer cliffs, risking their lives to harvest a rare amber-colored honey, valued beyond any other in the world. Just a single taste can trigger intense hallucinations, and it is this uniqueness that has made the honey a coveted treasure hunted for millennia. Will they succeed in claiming the precious honeycomb, or will they fail and plunge into the depths of the abyss? It's a question that takes us deep into the Himalayan wilderness, where the last inheritors of an ancient honey hunting tradition must face the world's largest bees, endure relentless stings, and move across sheer cliffs with nothing but a fragile bamboo ladder. Their window of opportunity is incredibly brief. Join Agriculture Insight as we follow the footsteps of the last honey hunters, explore the untamed wilderness, and uncover what drives people to risk their lives for just a few drops of this dangerous nectar. Nepal, a land nestled beneath the towering Himalayas, hides a rare and precious treasure, harvested under deadly conditions, mad honey. But what is it about this honey that makes people willing to risk their very lives to get it? For the Gurun people, mad honey is more than just a gift from nature. It is a symbol of courage, faith, and a sacred heritage passed down through generations. What makes this honey truly remarkable is its hallucinogenic power. Just 2 spoonfuls can trigger vivid visual illusions and an intense state of euphoria. To this day, it continues to be revered in traditional medicine as a natural remedy, believed to relieve joint pain, support heart health, and enhance male vitality. As a result, mad honey has become a coveted luxury item among high-end buyers, with prices reaching up to $700 per kilogram, 20 to 50 times higher than that of regular honey. Yet the allure of mad honey lies in the strange chemistry of nature itself. Mad honey contains gray anotoxins, powerful neuroactive compounds derived from the nectar of wild rhododendron flowers that grow at altitudes of 2,500 to 3,500 meters above sea level. These natural toxins are what give this extraordinary honey its potent hallucinogenic effects and its mysterious medicinal value. Only the Himalayan giant bee, the largest honeybee in the world, is capable of reaching such heights to collect nectar from these toxic blooms, producing a honey so rare it cannot be farmed, replicated, or industrialized. And to conquer this dangerous species of bee, the art of mad honey hunting has been passed down from father to son for thousands of years. Preparations begin about 3 to 4 days before the hunt, a critical phase that can determine the success or failure of the entire journey. Bamboo ladders, stretching from 20 to 30 meters, are crafted entirely by hand and secured with flexible wild rattan ropes, strong enough to bear the weight of a grown man, along with baskets heavy with honeycomb. Even the slightest mistake at this stage could mean the honey hunter never returns home. That's why not everyone can take part in these perilous expeditions. It requires not only strength and agility, but also the bravest hearts, the most experienced hands, and a pure spirit. One crucial step involves the village elders performing sacred rituals to honor the ancestors and forest spirits, praying for a safe and successful journey. The harvest comes only twice a year, and to call it a success, the hunters must bring back no less than 20 liters of shimmering golden honey. But this is far more than a tradition. One successful haul can sustain the village for months, and everyone knows failure is simply not an option. And the question still lingers: will they return with baskets full of mad honey or come back empty-handed? The first challenge they must face, even before reaching the cliffs where the hives hang, is crossing a fast-flowing and dangerous river, with nearly 50 kilograms of handmade gear strapped to their backs. They use freshly cut logs from the forest to build makeshift bridges, linking each step across the treacherous wilderness. Every member of the group holds a vital role, because without coordination, any expedition could end before it even begins. After a grueling 3 to 5 hour trek, the honey hunters finally reach the heart of an immense wilderness, the towering cliffs where the golden drops await. A wise hunter never enters battle without a plan. Before approaching the beehives, the honey hunting team divides into 3 coordinated groups. First, 2 to 3 of the strongest men are assigned to handle the ropes, raising and lowering the honey baskets and securing the bamboo ladder at the anchor point atop the cliff. This must be done with absolute precision and strength, as this rope is quite literally the lifeline of the climber below. Another group stands at the base of the cliff, preparing bundles of dry leaves and lighting fires to create smoke that repels the bees. It may sound strange, but the smoke is the key. It overwhelms the bees' sensitive airways and blocks alarm pheromones, leaving the swarm disoriented and their aggression briefly neutralized. The final group, and by far the most dangerous, is tasked with the core mission, lowering themselves down sheer cliffs hundreds of meters high to reach the hives and harvest the honeycombs. Precision is everything. Misaligned cuts may allow fallen honeycombs to be caught by the group below, but if they hit the rocks, they're likely lost forever. Once the battlefield is carefully assigned, the honey hunters begin to move in on the hives. Down below, several hunters prepare bundles of leaves to ignite a fire, the only defense against thousands of furious bees. Without this smoke-based diversion tactic, the swarm could launch a collective attack, and the consequences could be deadly. Then, the lead harvester ties a rope around his waist, grips the swaying bamboo ladder, and slowly descends the sheer cliff, carrying only a bamboo stick. The hive is alive with thousands of bees gathered in defense, completely covering its outer surface to form a massive, creature-like mass. What's most fascinating is their synchronized movement, swaying their abdomens in unison as a warning display to intruders. Attacking the hive at this point would be far too dangerous, so the hunters lower a bundle of smoldering dry leaves tied to a rope, bringing it close to the hive to calm the bees and disrupt their communication. When the hive is deemed safe enough to approach, the honey hunter carefully uses the tip of a stick to pry chunks of honeycomb away from the rock face, then guides them into a woven bamboo basket suspended by rope below. Barefoot and suspended hundreds of meters above the ground, with nothing but a bamboo ladder and a long stick, they endure dozens, even hundreds, of relentless stings. But these hunters are no strangers to hardship. With unwavering determination, they press on without hesitation. Every movement demands absolute precision, because even the slightest mistake could send the honeycomb plunging into the abyss. Or worse, it's not the honey that falls, but the hunter himself. To increase stability, seasoned hunters rely on their bare feet, toughened by years of hardship, for a sensitivity that no footwear can provide. This allows them to control the stick more precisely and grip the rugged cliff more securely. When striking the hive, not every piece of honeycomb falls directly into the basket below, and each fragment that slips and crashes down the cliff is a real loss. And like perfectly meshed cogs in a machine, teammates waiting at the top of the cliff begin hauling up the baskets, now heavy with honey. Each basket typically weighs around 3 to 6 kilograms, and a single slip could send the entire load of precious honey plummeting into the abyss, lost forever. As the hours pass, calloused hands and bare feet begin to ache with exhaustion. But this is the most critical moment. The body may be weary, but the mind must remain razor sharp. One misstep, 1 second of distraction, could mean death. The hunters know that Himalayan giant bees are in decline, driven by deforestation and climate change. That's why they never destroy the entire hive. Instead, they deliberately leave a portion behind, allowing the bees to rebuild and continue their cycle. That fragility only makes this mad honey all the more rare and valuable. After hours of relentless effort and patient harvesting, collecting honey from a dozen wild hives, the time has finally come for the hunters to taste the reward of their labor. But before they can filter the honey from the freshly harvested combs, they must first remove dozens of stingers still embedded in their skin, some even stung on the face, piercing through layers of protective cloth. The venom from these stings causes intense burning pain and swelling, far more potent than that of regular bees, and in severe cases can cause anaphylactic shock or even death. If you've never witnessed it, honey pressing is a moment both essential and profoundly sweet, more so than any other stage in this extraordinary journey shaped by nature and human hands. With their calloused hands, the hunters begin pressing, sometimes using bare strength, other times with a simple wooden press to apply pressure to the combs. Thick, amber-colored honey begins to ooze out, drop by golden drop, into bowls or aluminum basins placed below. Since the honey is never heated or filtered through industrial methods, it retains its wild aroma and the unique, bittersweet, spicy flavor found only in Himalayan mad honey. Some even describe the taste as a strange heat rushing to the head, yet oddly fragrant. The leftover wax is squeezed dry and set aside, sometimes used to make candles or fuel. With prices ranging from $150 to as high as $900, and in rare, premium batches even reaching $1,200 per kilogram, some consumers remain hesitant, wondering if such an exorbitant price can truly be justified. In recent years, the number of hives clinging to these cliffs has been cut in half, devastated by deforestation and the creeping shadow of climate change. With every passing season, finding colonies that still survive becomes more difficult, and in some countries, mad honey is even restricted or banned altogether, including the United States, South Korea, and parts of Europe. But that's not the only threat. The pull of city life is quietly unraveling this tradition. As the youth leave, fewer hands climb the cliffs, and fewer hearts hear the call of the wild. What we witness today may well be the final echoes of an ancient way of life. For them, each climb is more than a harvest. It is a test of courage, a ritual of remembrance, and a profound act of reverence for the natural world. In their hands, mad honey is more than just a delicacy. It is a golden thread connecting the wild cliffs to a fading heritage and to the fragile balance between man and the mountains. But as the hives grow scarcer, and the cliffs fall silent with each passing generation, one question lingers in the thin, icy air of the Himalayas. How much longer will those ancient songs echo through these majestic peaks? And that's only half the journey of the bees. Now, let's continue exploring the sweet path that honeybees bring to the world. After about 6 to 8 weeks, when the honeycombs are covered with a thin layer of white wax, that's the signal that the honey is fully ripened and ready for harvest. At this stage, the moisture content in the honey has dropped, allowing it to be stored for a long time without fermenting. Beekeepers carefully inspect each frame, selecting the ones that are filled with honey and completely sealed with wax before beginning the harvesting process. As the early summer sun casts a golden hue over the skies of South Dakota, beekeepers know it's time for the honey harvest. The preparations kick into high gear. Dressed in protective suits, they get ready to handle the inevitable stings. A smoker helps calm the bees, while a soft brush gently sweeps them off the frames, ensuring a safe and efficient harvesting process. When the time is right, beekeepers get to work harvesting honey, a task that requires skill, patience, and attention to every little detail. They start by gently creating a thin stream of smoke using dry wood, bark, or other natural materials. This smoke is carefully blown into the hive, encouraging the bees to temporarily retreat in a natural and non-disruptive way. The smoke helps keep the bees calm, making the harvest smoother while minimizing stress on the colony. The beekeeper then carefully removes the honey-filled frames, shimmering with golden sweetness, making sure not to damage the hive's structure. This allows the bees to continue their work without major disruption. Using a soft brush, they gently sweep away any remaining bees from the honeycomb, ensuring no harm comes to them. However, beekeepers never take all the honey. A sufficient amount is always left behind to provide the colony with enough nourishment to survive the harsh winter and prepare for the next season. Once harvested, these fragrant, honey-rich frames are neatly placed into specialized containers, ready to be transported to the processing facility. There, they'll go through the final steps to become the pure, delicious honey that we all love. After leaving the farm, those full barrels of honey don't just travel by truck, they're also flown on specialized cargo planes. Up in the sky, tons of honey soar over mountains and rivers, reaching processing plants quickly while staying fresh. Thanks to high-speed transport, the honey avoids weather-related risks, ensuring the purest quality when it reaches consumers. Each flight isn't just carrying honey, it's delivering the sweet taste of nature. Even though the US is known for its advanced machinery, when it comes to harvesting honey, nothing can replace human hands. Hand harvesting protects the delicate structure of the hive and ensures that honey is collected at just the right ripeness, preserving its natural aroma and nutrients. Skilled beekeepers carefully observe their colonies, spotting any health issues early to maintain a sustainable ecosystem. This isn't just a job, it's an art, where every drop of honey is the result of skill, patience, and a deep love for nature. As soon as the honey barrels leave the farm, they are transported to a specialized storage area at the factory, where the temperature is carefully maintained between 37 and 40 degrees Celsius. Here, the honey isn't just stored, it's gently warmed to reduce its viscosity, allowing it to flow more easily. This process is meticulously controlled, degree by degree, ensuring that the honey's natural aroma and valuable nutrients remain intact. This isn't just simple heating, it's an art in honey processing, preserving the essence of nature in every drop. After resting in the warm room, the honeycombs move on to the wax removal machine, where the delicate wax layer is carefully stripped away, clearing the path for the golden honey to be released. High-speed rotating blades glide smoothly over the honeycomb frames, removing the thin layer of wax without damaging the structure of the hive. But this wax doesn't go to waste. It is recycled into beeswax candles, cosmetics, or even new honeycomb frames, helping to sustain nature's cycle. Now, the honeycomb frames are ready for extraction, the moment when pure golden honey finally leaves the hive, thanks to the magic of centrifugal force. The centrifuge spins at incredibly high speeds, generating a powerful force that quickly pulls the honey out of the frames without damaging the delicate honeycomb structure. This allows beekeepers to reuse the frames, reducing material waste, protecting the environment, and optimizing production efficiency. But the process doesn't stop there. Freshly extracted honey still contains tiny impurities like bits of wax and fine dust, so it immediately goes through a coarse filtration stage before moving on to refinement. It's not just about removing impurities. Fine filtration ensures honey reaches the perfect clarity and smoothness. As the golden honey flows through specialized filters, even the tiniest wax particles are completely removed, guaranteeing absolute purity in every drop. After filtration, the honey is transferred into large storage tanks, where it is gently stirred to ensure uniform flavor and color, preparing it for the final stage of processing. Now, the precious honey is finally ready to be bottled, thanks to an automatic filling machine that operates with absolute precision. With an advanced sensor system, every drop of honey is measured accurately, ensuring that not a single drop goes to waste. This system can fill hundreds of bottles per minute, maximizing efficiency while keeping the honey in its best condition. Right after filling, the bottles move to the capping station, where each cap is securely sealed to protect the honey from air exposure and potential contamination. No bottle is complete without its label, its identity card, in the marketplace. The automatic labeling system ensures that every label is printed clearly and contains all necessary information. Once labeled, the honey bottles are packed neatly into boxes, stacked into large shipments, and are ready to be distributed across the world. But honey isn't the only star. Royal jelly, a highly prized and nutrient-rich substance, is even more valuable. So what makes royal jelly so special? Stick around and find out next. Royal jelly is the food that the queen bee eats throughout her life. A large bee colony can have between 50,000 to 80,000 bees. Only the most powerful bee, the queen bee, has the right to rule. The queen bee's main job is reproduction. She lays thousands of eggs daily at peak times. The survival of the bee colony heavily depends on the queen, because without her, the colony would not thrive. People often think royal jelly is a product secreted by the queen bee. In fact, it's not. Royal jelly is made by hard-working worker bees. It's the exclusive food for the queen bee and her larvae. Farmers intervene in the bee colony to temporarily remove the queen and place larvae in artificial cells, tricking worker bees into thinking they are nurturing the future queen, prompting them to produce royal jelly. Royal jelly production season typically lasts from spring to late summer, when flowers bloom and bees have ample food. During this time, worker bees can be active and produce royal jelly regularly. Beekeepers prepare artificial hives, special structures designed to replace natural beehives for easier harvesting of royal jelly. Each artificial hive typically includes a frame with several small cells, known as cup cells. These cells mimic the natural cells in a hive where the queen lays her eggs and raises larvae. The process starts with selecting larvae less than 3 days old from the natural hive. These larvae are then transferred to the cup cells in the artificial hive. The worker bees then begin to produce royal jelly and nourish these larvae as if preparing for a new queen's arrival. To enhance efficiency, beekeepers may use additional techniques like adding wax sheets or safe synthetic materials to shape the cup cells. These artificial cells need to be arranged to ensure optimal space for worker bees to work and produce royal jelly. Typically, each cell is spaced about 1 centimeter apart. In each artificial cell, usually only one larva is placed, to ensure that worker bees focus all their resources on nurturing that larva with royal jelly. About 10 to 20 worker bees directly care for and secrete royal jelly for each larva throughout the nurturing process. Besides producing royal jelly, worker bees also have the primary task of collecting nectar. On average, worker bees can work 10 to 12 hours a day. Worker bees often fly within a range of 1.5 to 3 kilometers from their hive to collect nectar and pollen. The division of labor among worker bees in the hive is very flexible, with different bees participating in tasks such as collecting pollen, nectar, caring for the hive, and secreting royal jelly. This ensures that each larva receives a plentiful and high-quality supply of royal jelly. About 3 days after the worker bees start feeding the larvae, the royal jelly is ready for harvesting, which is when it has reached its peak quality. If left too long, the worker bees will stop secreting royal jelly, and the larvae will begin to develop into queens or mature bees. Beekeepers then remove the artificial hives from the main hive. Using specialized tools, they gently detach the larvae from each cell. These larvae are typically not used in royal jelly production. The main goal is to collect the jelly. Royal jelly is harvested directly from the cells using small tools, often tweezers. Beekeepers must handle the jelly delicately to avoid contamination or damage. Royal jelly is a slightly thick white to pale yellow liquid, depending on the quality of the bee colony. Each artificial cell usually contains about 0.1 to 0.2 grams of royal jelly. However, when harvested on a large scale from hundreds to thousands of cells, the amount of royal jelly collected can be substantial. An artificial hive can be reused about 10 to 15 times in one season. Each cycle involves removing the old larva and inserting a new one. After harvesting, royal jelly must be immediately preserved in cool conditions, refrigerated or frozen, to maintain quality during transport to the factory. After harvesting, royal jelly needs to be stored under strict conditions to ensure quality. Royal jelly is very sensitive to light and high temperatures. It oxidizes, loses color, and degrades in quality. Thus, it must be stored in opaque or dark-colored jars or containers to avoid direct light exposure. Refrigeration is the most common preservation method. Royal jelly should be kept at temperatures from 2 to 5 degrees Celsius in the refrigerator. At this temperature, royal jelly can maintain its quality for about 6 months. Freezing, to further extend its shelf life, royal jelly can be frozen at temperatures from -18 degrees Celsius to -20 degrees Celsius. When stored in the freezer, royal jelly can retain its quality for up to 1 to 2 years without degradation. Before use, it can be slowly thawed in the refrigerator to preserve its nutrients. Upon arrival at the factory, royal jelly undergoes strict quality checks. Samples are tested for color, taste, purity, and physical chemical indicators such as moisture content, protein levels, and nutrients. Microbiological testing is also crucial to ensure the royal jelly is free from contamination. Harvested royal jelly may contain impurities such as beeswax, small hive debris, or other contaminants. It is filtered through special filters to remove these impurities. After coarse filtration, royal jelly undergoes a refining stage. This may involve deeper filtration processes to achieve the highest purity, removing all impurities and harmful microorganisms. In some cases, royal jelly may be treated with low heat, pasteurization, to kill bacteria without losing essential nutrients. However, this process must be carefully controlled, as high temperatures can damage the nutrients in royal jelly. After filtration and refining, royal jelly is packaged in sterile plastic or glass containers. These containers must be vacuum sealed or airtight to prevent oxidation and preserve royal jelly in the best condition. In addition to direct packaging, royal jelly is also processed into pills and dietary supplements. First, the royal jelly is spread evenly on large trays, then put into a freezer at -20 degrees Celsius for 12 hours. At which point the royal jelly will freeze into large pieces. The royal jelly chunks are put into a grinder that turns them into powder. The royal jelly powder is then put into a press to form tablets. These tablets are packed in glass bottles of 100 tablets each. Thousands of bottles of tablets have been packaged with beautiful packaging. Finally, they are packaged into large crates, shipped ready for export to consumers around the world. As the raw material behind 60% of the world's clothing, cotton is not just a fabric, it's the foundation of an entire civilization, where fashion, agriculture, and global economics intersect. But have you ever wondered how more than 25 million tons of cotton are harvested and processed each year? The journey of these white gold fibers begins in sun-drenched fields, where fluffy cotton bolls are picked by massive machines and transported to factories. There, under human craftsmanship combined with modern technology, these delicate fibers go through a meticulous and precise process, not only being spun into yarn and woven into fabric, but also ensuring that every remaining part is utilized to create environmentally friendly products. Today, join Agriculture Insight as we explore this soft yet massive industry and discover why cotton remains the irreplaceable core of modern textile manufacturing. Everything will be revealed in this video. In the late 18th century, as the Industrial Revolution exploded in Britain, the genius of Eli Whitney and his invention of the cotton gin in 1793 turned cotton into the catalyst for sweeping transformations, launching a textile industry now worth over $100 billion. Today, India harvests more cotton than any other country, with over 6 million tons annually. But in terms of yield and exports, the true powerhouse is the United States, thanks to full mechanization and highly optimized farming systems. Meanwhile, despite global controversies over Xinjiang cotton and human rights issues, China still dominates the processing stage, operating the largest textile industry in the world. So what is the real reason the whole world craves cotton so much? Compared to synthetic fibers like polyester or nylon, cotton stands out with its superior breathability and the ability to absorb up to 27 times its own weight in moisture while remaining gentle on the skin, making it the top choice for brands like Calvin Klein, Levi Strauss, and Ralph Lauren. One remarkable fact is that although cotton is among the most water-intensive crops, it is also extremely sensitive and vulnerable to attacks from bollworms, aphids, and thrips, causing the industry to consume up to 16% of the world's pesticides, even though cotton cultivation covers only about 2.5% of global agricultural land. And like every great story, this journey also begins with something small. At this point, billions of bolls simultaneously burst open, revealing fluffy white fibers clinging to the branches like tiny clouds, marking the arrival of harvest season, usually around September to November. Across vast fields blanketed in white, massive round module cotton pickers slowly roll into action. As the machine's harvesting heads, with dozens of rotating spindles lined with fine metal teeth, glide through rows of cotton plants standing about 1 to 1.2 meters tall, they skillfully pull the fluffy cotton from the bolls while leaving the stalks intact. After the harvested cotton is sucked into the machine through large intake ducts, it is fed into a compression chamber at the rear. Instead of collecting loose cotton and transporting it to a separate facility for baling like traditional methods, modern harvesters compress the cotton directly into giant round modules about 2.4 meters in diameter, wrapping each one in plastic film to protect it from moisture. When freshly formed, each roll can weigh up to 4.5 tons, including cotton fibers, seeds, plant debris, and moisture. After compaction and moisture stabilization, the average weight reduces to around 2.2 to 2.5 tons, greatly simplifying transportation and post-harvest handling compared to older methods. Beyond the United States, in countries like Egypt, Greece, Peru, and parts of India, there's another premium cotton variety you may have never heard of: extra-long staple cotton. This type of cotton produces fibers that are finer, longer, and significantly stronger than regular varieties like BT cotton. Because of its high fiber value, ELS cotton is carefully hand-picked instead of machine-harvested to prevent damaging the delicate premium fibers. Surprisingly, due to its price being 2 to 3 times higher than regular cotton, it's estimated that up to 95% of products labeled as Egyptian or Greek cotton on the market today are actually counterfeit. Once the harvest is complete, specialized loaders lift the cotton modules and stack them onto long-haul trucks, some over 12 meters long, which, when fully loaded, head straight to the processing plant, carrying the freshly harvested cotton rolls. This marks the beginning of a new chapter, where raw cotton enters the giant stomach of the textile industry, embarking on its transformation journey into yarn and fabric, ready to fuel the global fashion supply chain. At the processing plant, the cotton modules are unloaded from the trucks and neatly arranged in long, orderly rows at the staging area outside the production zone. This is the first step in preparing the raw material before it enters the industrial spinning process. Next, specialized cotton module feeders begin moving along the stacked rows. Using a rear-mounted hydraulic system, each machine continuously lifts 5 to 6 round cotton modules at a time, or large rectangular bales, depending on the harvesting method used in the field. At many modern factories, once the cotton modules are transferred to the intake zone, they are further processed by a specialized bale opener, a machine designed to fully automate the unpacking process. The equipment gently secures each module in place, then uses twin clamps to carefully peel away the protective plastic wrap, allowing the entire cotton mass to drop onto a conveyor belt, leading to the feeding chute. However, at smaller facilities or in semi-automated operations, workers still rely on a manual-assisted method, using ropes or hooks to gradually remove the plastic wrap before feeding the raw cotton into the processing system. No matter which method is used, once the tightly compressed cotton modules are unpacked, they burst open into a chaotic mass, clumps of tangled fibers stuck together in dense chunks. Therefore, the first step in processing is to loosen the fibers, returning them to a fluffy, free-flowing state for easier handling in the next stages. The opening machine, known as a hopper feeder, uses rotating drums combined with toothed beaters to comb and pull apart the layers of cotton, helping the fibers no longer clump together, untangling the mess without needing a comb. The next stage is primary cleaning, where the cotton passes through large trash removal machines designed to eliminate remaining coarse impurities. These devices use rotating drums fitted with comb-like teeth, combined with powerful suction systems, to extract debris such as soil clumps, seed husks, dead leaves, and fine dust particles. A strong countercurrent airflow works alongside mechanical agitation, effectively loosening and separating light waste materials and channeling them into a dedicated collection system. As a result, a cleaner stream of white cotton moves forward to the most critical phase of the process, separating the fibers from the seeds. This is the heart of the entire cotton processing line, the moment when fibers are completely separated from the seeds. Modern cotton gins use hundreds of small, high-speed circular saw blades that rotate rapidly. As the cotton passes through the machine, these saw teeth pull the fibers through narrow slots, while the larger cotton seeds are too big to pass and remain behind. It's important to note that only about 35% of the cotton's weight is usable fiber for spinning, while the remaining 65% consists of cotton seeds and other impurities. Millions of tons of these byproducts are not wasted. The separated cotton seeds are conveyed along the processing line and stored in large silos or dedicated warehouses, ensuring stable preservation before being processed into cooking oil, livestock feed, or planting seeds for the next season. Cottonseed oil has a light, neutral flavor and a high smoke point, making it ideal for frying and food processing. It is also richer in unsaturated fats compared to many other cooking oils, such as palm oil or lard, which makes it a popular choice in the snack food industry and commercial kitchens. After the seeds are removed, the cotton fibers move on to the lint cleaner, a specialized machine designed for deep cleaning and fiber refinement. This system uses multiple layers of rotating cylinders, serrated bars, and high-powered suction to eliminate any remaining impurities, such as fine dust, small seed fragments, and short, undesirable fibers. After cleaning, the cotton fibers are compressed into large bales using powerful hydraulic presses, packing each block of cotton into standard-sized molds with a weight of about 220 to 230 kilograms per bale. This time, the cotton is no longer pressed into round modules as before, but into compact rectangular bales, making storage, stacking, and transportation in factories much neater and more efficient. A critical step after baling is sample testing, not only to prevent commercial fraud, but also to help textile mills proactively manage risks related to raw material origins, especially as Xinjiang cotton faces strict global scrutiny. After grading and classification, the bales are neatly stacked in specialized storage warehouses, where humidity and temperature are carefully controlled to preserve quality. Once orders are placed by spinning mills, the cotton bales are loaded onto transport trucks and dispatched from the factory, completing the journey from raw field harvested material to a clean, uniform, and standardized product ready for the next phase of textile production. Compressed cotton bales are first arranged in long rows. An automatic bale opener runs along these rows, using rotating spikes or cutting rollers to gently shave off thin layers from the surface of each bale. The loosened cotton is then sucked up through an air duct system and transported to the pre-opener machine. Here, internal blades and spiral rollers continue to break down the cotton clumps into smaller tufts, while large impurities such as dry leaves, seed husks, and dirt are removed through reverse airflow and filtering sieves. All the loosened cotton is then sent to the blending machine. This is a critical step to ensure uniformity in color, fiber length, and quality because the mill often mixes multiple batches of cotton, including virgin cotton, recycled fibers, or synthetic blends. This thorough blending process guarantees that the yarn produced later will remain stable and consistent throughout mass production. After the opening and blending process is complete, the soft, fluffy cotton moves on to the carding system, marking the official beginning of industrial spinning. The carding machine uses a series of fast-rotating rollers covered with fine metallic teeth to untangle, straighten, and clean the fibers. As the cotton passes through, these rollers meticulously separate the clumped fibers, aligning them into a smooth, continuous stream known as sliver. This sliver is a soft, uniform ribbon of fibers, ready for the next stages of spinning. Next, the slivers are fed into the drawing frame. In this stage, multiple slivers are combined and simultaneously stretched using a series of rollers that rotate at gradually increasing speeds. This process evens out the thickness and length of the fibers, ensuring a more uniform and parallel arrangement. Drawing not only refines the fiber alignment, but also controls the fiber density along each meter of the sliver. It serves as the foundation for the precision spinning process that follows, guaranteeing consistent quality in the final yarn. At this stage, the cotton fibers are further drawn into finer strands using the roving frame. During this process, the fibers are stretched once more while being given a slight twist to stabilize their structure and prevent breakage. The rovings are then fed into the main spinning machine, which can be either ring spinning or open-end spinning, depending on the type of yarn required. Here, the fibers are drawn out to an even finer diameter and tightly twisted to enhance mechanical strength. Depending on the intended application, the finished yarn can have various properties, ranging from soft and smooth to durable, glossy, or elastic, tailored to meet specific product requirements. After the yarn is fully spun, it is wound onto paper or plastic tubes, known as bobbins. Each bobbin can hold anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 meters of yarn, depending on the thickness and type of yarn being produced. These bobbins are then passed through a final quality inspection machine, which automatically detects and removes defective sections, such as uneven yarn, weak spots, or foreign particles. This step ensures that only high-quality, consistent yarn moves forward to the weaving or knitting process. After the cotton yarn has been spun and wound onto bobbins, it moves to the fabric weaving stage. First, the yarn is fed into a warping machine, where thousands of longitudinal threads are arranged in parallel onto a large spool called the warp beam. This beam serves as the structural foundation for the fabric. Next, the entire warp beam is installed on the loom. Depending on the type of fabric being produced, the process may use a traditional weaving loom or a knitting machine. During weaving, the loom continuously interlaces the horizontal threads through the vertical threads, creating a tightly woven fabric structure. This process transforms individual yarns into large sheets of fabric, with variations in strength, elasticity, and thickness depending on the chosen weaving pattern and fabric design. Once the raw fabric is complete, the dyeing process begins. The fabric is placed into large dye baths or continuous dyeing machines, where color penetrates deeply into each fiber with the help of controlled temperature and specialized dye chemicals. This process can take anywhere from a few hours to an entire day, depending on the required color fastness and fabric type. After dyeing, the fabric is thoroughly washed to remove excess dyes and residual chemicals. It is then dried and fed into a stenter machine, which stretches and fixes the fabric to its precise dimensions, ensuring uniform width and consistent shape for the final product. Before leaving the factory, the finished fabric undergoes a final quality inspection to detect even the smallest defects in color, texture, or weaving before being sent to garment factories, where it will be transformed into billions of everyday consumer products. The problem is, alongside the massive production of cotton-based products, the world is also discarding an estimated 70 to 80 million tons of cotton waste every year. Yet less than 1% of that is actually recycled into new products. Most of it ends up in landfills, gets incinerated, or is exported to developing countries under the label of second-hand goods or aid donations, creating serious environmental and social consequences. This raises not only concerns about the sustainability of the textile industry, but also forces us to rethink our current consumption model. How long can we keep producing and discarding at this pace?